Hello, you gorgeous sack of haunted meat. It is I, your coach, Melanie Black, and today we are answering two questions. The first question is, what's the easiest muscle group to build? And the second are calves, the hardest muscle group to build. So these are great questions. They're very interconnected. So we're going to talk about what's the easiest muscle groups to build, what's the hardest to build. And that has to do with fast and slow twitch muscle fibers. So fast twitch muscle fibers are really, really good at lifting heavy stuff or going really hard for a very short duration of time. So in this way, sprinters and weightlifters want a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers. You're not going to have a whole lot of endurance with these muscle fibers, but you're going to be able to be more intense, do more intensity for a shorter duration of time. Whereas slow twitch muscle fibers are endurance type muscle fibers, something that can go and keep going, the energizer bunny of muscle fibers. This is going to help you out when you're doing slow, steady state endurance type activities like walking, long distance running, that kind of thing, cycling. And we all have a mixture of both of these muscle fiber types in our bodies. Some people are more predisposed to having more fast twitch overall or more slow twitch overall, but we all have some of both of them. And you can train one more or the other more depending on what kind of performance you're trying to get out of your body. But to answer these questions specifically, we would look at what the concentration of these muscle fiber types is in a given area of the body, because again, there's some similarities across humans with this as well. So in the low back and in the calves, in the lower part of the leg, calves, and in the front of the shins there, the anterior tibialis, you're going to have a lot more slow twitch endurance type muscle fibers. Because think about your back, your low back, your core, your abs, all of those actually have to work all day long. Otherwise, you would just flop over when you stood up. Same thing with calves and feet. Those muscles are working pretty much continuously as you are maintaining your balance, standing, walking, all of these kinds of things. Your calves are really important for that. As a result, the calves and the low back and the core tend to have a lot more slow twitch muscle fibers. Now, why is this significant for what muscle group is the easiest to build? Because the idea is that these slow twitch muscle fibers, they don't have as much sarcoplasmic rectilium, the place where sarcoplasmic hypertrophy happens. So if you train a muscle, let's say you're trying to get mass built in a given muscle, you are going to see the most significant difference by stimulating sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So each muscle has a bunch of tiny little fibers in it that contract, and that's what creates the sort of mechanical movement of the muscle tissue, right? But around each of these muscle fibers, these little tiny myofibrils, which are quite small, there's a little gelatinous area called the sarcoplasm. And that's where we store a lot of the short-term energy for those fast twitch muscle fibers. So if we're training to failure in a muscle group, that's the typical way to stimulate sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. We're sending a signal to the body that we need more on-site storage in the muscle tissue itself. It expands that sarcoplasm, and then we eat the right amount of carbohydrates, proteins, or whatever to pump that sarcoplasm up. So some muscle fibers have more sarcoplasm to pump up, and some muscle fibers have less of that to pump up. And the calves are a great example of where a lot of times people are get kind of obsessed with building that a certain look with the calves, and honestly, you're somewhat predisposed genetically to whether you're going to be able to build those calves really massively or not. So just because somebody has small calves doesn't mean necessarily that they're skipping leg day. It may be that they have a large percentage of their calf muscle is these slow twitch muscle fibers, which are great for distance, for going, running long distance, that kind of thing. They're not going to get tired as fast. They're not going to get that burn, that lactic acid buildup as badly, typically, that kind of thing. So they're going to have more adaptation for that type of movement. So calves, core, those are the hardest to build, definitely. So yes, if you've been trying to build your calves and you're like, why, you're not crazy. You're probably not doing anything wrong. They're just really hard to build because they are going to be largely those slow twitch muscle fibers. And I get asked about this a lot because I've got really large calves, but that is just my genetic predisposition. I don't have any secret sauce for making those calves big, y'all. So keep that in mind. Love your body, and train it, but accept it for what it is as well. Now, as far as the easiest muscle groups to build, now that we've kind of answered what the hardest ones are, what are the easiest ones? Well, again, part of this is genetic predisposition, how much you're going to have of each muscle fiber type in a given area of the body. But in general, the larger, thicker muscle groups like the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the biceps, those muscles that move a big joint in the body, anything that is largely responsible for moving a large joint in the body, that is going to be the easiest, relatively speaking, the easiest muscle groups to build. But it's still a lot of hard work. So keeping that in mind, definitely, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey every single step of the way. If you want help with that, you can hit me up. I do coaching online, www.thenerdgym.com. You can sign up for membership there for online live Zoom classes and such. But yeah, the body is fascinating. Have fun with it, enjoy it, and don't get too caught up on these little vanity things. I mean, your vanity is valid, obviously. If you want to work on these things, go for it. You have this amazing ability to sculpt your body, but also appreciate the beautiful, complex, haunted sack of meat that it is. And I will see you next time. All right. Thanks for the questions, y'all. Bye.